Hello, good morning. Our first issue is National Asset Monetization Pipeline. Niti Aayog has recommended for providing tax breaks to attract more funding and more investment into National Asset Monetization Pipeline. Niti Aayog has suggested that income tax breaks, should be provided to the retail investors who invest in the infrastructure investment trusts and real estate investment trust under National Asset Monetization Pipeline. This will encourage more investment into it. That is the first recommendation. Second recommendation is IBC, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, should be provided. This comfort of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code should be provided for these trusts so that in case of any problem, this will provide the quick resolution and the investors will have the confidence while investing in the InvITs and REITs. These are the two important suggestions of Niti Aayog with regard to National Asset Monetization Pipeline. Next issue is oil palm cultivation in India. Recently, government has proposed for national mission on edible oil, palm oil. This is the national mission. Government is planning to promote palm oil cultivation in northeastern states, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Already in many of the southern Indian states, including AP, Kerala, etc., we are going for oil palm cultivation. Andhra Pradesh provides for 90% of oil palm cultivation in India. Now, there's a widespread destruction of rainforests and native biodiversity because of the oil palm cultivation in the Southeast Asia, Brazil, etc. In this context, now environmentalists they express the concern that under this particular mission, in case of oil palm cultivation in northeastern states and Andaman Nicobar, as proposed under it, it would impact negatively on the community ownership of tribal lands, and it is a water guzzling plant. That means it takes a lot of water, which leads to groundwater depletion. Monoculture leads to less soil fertility, and it takes long gestation periods. That means small farmers cannot grow them. Only under commercial cultivation it can be grown. These are some of the concerns, and this oil palm is not native to these areas, so this can be considered as an invasive species. This is not natural forest product of the northeastern India, and it impacts our biodiversity. In this context, what if it is grown in the non-forest regions? What if it spreads to forest regions? So there are so many concerns. But why government has brought in this? As of now, 55% of entire edible oil is met through imports only. This particular new mission is intended to produce the domestic production and promotes the self-reliance. But if we consider the experiences of other countries such as Sri Lanka, recently Sri Lanka has completely banned oil palm in their country. Even the oil palm farms which were there earlier, these were burnt out because it consumes a lot of water, it is invasive, that is why. So in this context, why can't we think of oil seeds which are suitable to dryland agriculture? In India, rain-fed and dryland agriculture is more predominant. Why can't the government think on these two things? That is the question now. Next issue is Hurricane Ida. Hurricane Ida struck the coast of Louisiana, which is a category 4 storm. This is as stronger as Katrina. Katrina has devastated southern US city New Orleans in the year 2005. 16 years after that, this is the category 4 storm cyclone Ida. So this leads to high wind speeds and potential property damage. Based on this, we categorize these storms into category 1 to category 5. Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. This provides for 5 categories. Category 1 means less destructive hurricanes. Category 5 means more destructive. We call them as cyclones in India. In USA, in the Atlantic Ocean region, they call it as hurricane. Next issue is South China Sea region and China's new guidelines. China has recently said that whatever vessels that pass through the territorial waters of China, they have to report the information. Starting from September 1, all the ships that commercial and navy ships that go through its territorial waters means 12 nautical miles from the coast. 12 nautical miles from the land area. So now in India, over $5 trillion trade passes through South China Sea. 55% of total trade passes through Malacca Strait and South China Sea. In this context, China's claim of 9-dash line in South China Sea, there's an imaginary line called 9-dash line. It says this 9-dash line provides its maritime claims. So in this context, we have to report to China. But this is a conflicting zone. South China Sea waters are territorial waters claimed by China as well as Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia. So there are counterclaims by other countries too. And these new guidelines, this might create new tensions, and it can be considered as violation of freedom of navigational rights. Next issue is Paralympic medal winners. Yesterday, 3 people won the Paralympic medals. Table tennis star Bhavna Patel, high jumper Nishad Kumar, and they won silver medals. And discus thrower Vinod Kumar, he won the bronze medal at the Paralympics. Next, let us understand the editorials. First one is infrastructural projects in Uttarakhand. There are many divisions within the central ministries, let's say Jal Shakti Ministry, which manages National Mission on Clean Ganga. It opposes the hydropower projects. Why? Hydropower projects, they obstruct the water flow that might lead to more harm to the Ganga river system. But then the Ministry of Power says already many projects are started, so we have to allow them. Likewise, within the ministries there is no consensus. Considering the geological, developmental and climatological conditions of Uttarakhand and other Himalayan states, these infrastructural projects, they have to consider the geology of the region. They have to consider the sociological, environmental and ecological impacts of the project. That's why infrastructural development and eco-conservation should both go hand in hand. Next issue is vaccine governance. There are many vaccine companies which are asking for indemnity clause. Indemnity means exemption from the responsibility in case of any problem. So this indemnity clause has been sought by many USA companies including Pfizer, Moderna. But as of now, India has not decided on them. But Indian Drug Controller General of India has cleared emergency use authorization for Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, these companies. And India has already cleared the vaccines of Covaxin, Covishield, Sputnik V. So in this Zycov-D, in this context, providing indemnity clause for the foreign manufacturers might raise the demands from domestic manufacturers too. That's why India is taking cautious step in this context. Next issue is Humane Police Force. This is important for public administration students. Humane Police Force. Recently, Justice N.V. Ramana has expressed concerns that custodial violence has become a common phenomena. It is against the human rights. That means custodial violence is an outright human rights violation. In this context, if we observe the ground situation, total number of custodial deaths are reducing in the past 10 years. Arrests filed under IPC, they are also less. Recently, Supreme Court has said that if arrest is mandatory, then only do. Otherwise, take the complaint, investigate, then only take the action. Don't arrest unnecessarily. Arrest is a confinement. Arrest is not mandatory in every case. That's the Supreme Court's judgment. So in reality, if we see the total number of arrests as compared to the total number of cases filed are reducing. In this context, what we have to do is National Police Commission, Law Commission in its 154th report, Mallimath Committee on Criminal Law Amendments. So all these things, including Supreme Court in Prakash Singh versus Union of India case, they have recommended for separating the investigating police with the law and order police. Then investigating police will do their own work. Why custodial violence? Because they want to gather the evidence. They want to make the person to give them the evidence. That's why custodial violence is more prevalent. Now what if we have a dedicated investigative wing? That's the issue here. In this context, there are certain guidelines known as DK Basu guidelines. DK Basu versus State of West Bengal. In this particular case, Supreme Court has laid down guidelines to check the custodial torture and increase in the transparency and responsibility of police officer who is arresting that person. In this context, to check the further violations, so as per the Supreme Court's order, CCTV cameras are installed in the police stations. Home Ministry has recently linked the police modernization scheme with the police reforms. That means they will issue the funds only if there are police reforms at the state level. Unless sufficient action is taken by the states. Why states? Because it's a state subject. Unless sufficient action is taken by the states and the police authorities, this situation cannot be changed. So, proper awareness, training, funding, all these things should be there to check such things. These are the articles for today. Thank you very much. All the very best.